there are twists and turns in this story. I'm really trying to dance around everything so I don't give everything. Yeah, no, it's heavy, but it needs to be. I've been trying to wrap my mind around it because there's things I can't say because I want people to read it, but I will say the journey and the why are so important.
Well, her journey is back to the why. That's the whole reason she's having.
Well, I didn't want to say that.
Sure.
That's what I was. Let's see if we can get down here. So you know what? I'm going to compare it to this. I've seen this for a really long time with production. At one point there was gatekeeping. In order to have a professional production, it has to look like X. In order to have a professional brand, it has to look like X. And then I found out all these people are just cosplaying. That's all it is. They're showing the best version of themselves that they can to you. They're doing the absolute best they can to show that they are successful, that they are moving forward, that everything is great, but it's not. And there are rather very, very strong themes in this story that I think more people can relate to than they want to admit. I think that there is a sense of conviction and a sense of, I'm going to write my own narrative.
Sure.
And I don't care what has to happen to get to this next point, this next plateau, this next thing. And not a lot of people think about what you're losing when you do that.
Yeah.
And I say cosplay because you put on this face. So yeah, cosplay, for every piece of armor that you put on, for every mask that you put on, you're losing a part of yourself. And I don't know if people realize that that's a consequence, and I don't know if they realize the cost. And it's scary because I don't know, you have friends when you grew up with that were like really close friends, and you have family members that if we're lucky, we get to spend our whole lives together, right?
Yeah.
But if we're not, we only have this like little short moment in time. Are your shoes okay?
Yep.
Okay. We only have this little short moment in time, and you don't realize if you're making the best of it or not. This is awful steep. I'm just going to pay attention to walking for a second. Woo. You got it?
Yeah, I got it. I'm good.
I'm good, buddy.
Okay. Let's go this way. Yeah, I'm going to focus on walking first. But those, if we're lucky, with grace and understanding and growth, we can maintain those relationships, because I think those people deserve to see the best versions of us. It's almost, I don't know. Like I said, we started the conversation, I overthink a lot of things, and I know when I was a dirtbag to a lot of people because I didn't realize what I was doing, or I was very immature, or didn't understand. There's a lot I didn't understand, and it's like, I want to make sure that those aren't my last memories, right?
Sure.
You really want to do whatever you can to, like there's a guy today. This morning, my son woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. He was just ready to build a rocket ship. I stayed in the house as long as I could, and I got up at 6 to get a sandwich. And I see someone in a drive-thru that I haven't seen in a really long time. And perspective and the why is extremely important. Their perspective might see me as being extremely successful, but I'm just trying to survive until 10 o'clock or whatever. Like, I'm just trying to go. But their perspective is they just started this job. They might look at me and be intimidated by the things that I'm doing, but I want to encourage them and tell them how proud I am of them for having a job. Like, I don't care where you start, just start.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard for so many people just to leave the house, just to get out from under the covers, because it's so easy just to stay there.
We're built for comfort.
And do nothing.
Yeah.
But you got to put some clothes on, and you got to face people. And we're talking about hospitality, all that forward-facing stuff. you have to be a special type of person, and those skills that you learn that I learned, they are so valuable, and it taught me how to treat people for the rest of my life, because I can relate to people from this situation and that situation. And if there's no barometer of where you can, or no gauge where you can point, like, hey, this person's doing the best they can with this person's doing the best they can with that, this person's just not upset with you, but they're upset. It's just, whew.
It teaches you how to read people pretty
It
quickly.
does. It does. Like, how important is this? How important is that?
And you can always tell if you a good test for someone is go out to eat with someone, and within like 3 minutes you'll understand how fast if they've ever worked in that industry.
Yes.
By how they treat people.
Yes.
There's people that I've like been hanging out with. They treat a server like crap, and I'm like, I don't think I want to hang out with this person anymore.
So we're all done.
I was like, I'm not going to hang out with them anymore.
So I think this is a short bluff, and I think the big bluffs are over there. Yeah, so this is just the overlook. Okay, so we'll go all the way down there. Now that we got this, we'll do, so we got all the things going. So when you got this idea and you watched this volleyball game, you're like, I have to write this book. Talk me through the process of, you tell your wife, like, hey, I got this great idea, like the kids are taken care of, like I need to disappear, or was it like you bought a notebook and you started writing little stuff in your spare time, or how did that work?
For a year, all of 2019, because the game I watched was in December of 2018, all of 2019 I just wrote down ideas and sample scenes, and I did that in my iPhone. And when I got to the end of 2019, I had, I'm not even kidding, 70 pages when I printed it out. That was just of notes. And so I had to go through all those.
Forgive me for interrupting. Were you talking into it or typing?
I typed.
Ooh, you got the carpal tunnel?
No, I'm a single finger.
70 pages for a single typer?
It was a single type. And when I actually type on a keyboard, I chicken peck with 2 fingers.
Oh, no.
But I'm quick. I'm quick with
the
the chicken pecking. But no, I did that for a whole year and just thought about sample scenes and things like that. And then in 2020, I sat down and I outlined what I thought would be a good first draft.
Okay.
And then I started calling and interviewing coaches, players, commentators, journalists, athletic trainers, those types of people, to make sure that things I was thinking of were realistic and authentic. And I was like, I'll get the details later, but I just want to make sure that I'm on the right path. And I wrote, the first draft took me 3 months to write. And I think after I wrote that first draft, I gave it to a couple people, and then the real work started. It was like just rewriting. I think, God, what's the writer's name? He was a country western writer, Louis L'Amour. He said, write 3 drafts, and that's your starting point, that third draft. And I'd written a couple books before this, and I'd always just written one draft and been like, it is what it is.
Wait, forgive me. You wrote a couple books that are published, or a couple books that you felt proud of?
I was not proud of them. I just wrote them as practice.
Okay.
'Cause I knew at some point I wanted to publish a book.
Okay.
But you can't just, you can try and publish your first pieces, but they're usually not good. Like, J.K. Rowling writes Harry Potter and it's her first novel, it gets published and blows up.
Yeah.
That's the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
Most people write, I can't remember the name of the, there's a fantasy writer, and his name's Brandon something, I can't remember his last name. Mm-hmm. He wrote 6 books before he ever got sold a book for publication. Wow. I knew I didn't want to sell it for traditional publication, that I was going to do it myself. Yeah. But yeah, it was tough walking through all those drafts, because you just have to have the conversation with you. I'm just making it better. I'm making it better. I'm making it better. And so I did that for 5 years. Just kept redrafting and redrafting before I got started going through the actual editorial process of doing a developmental edit, which took a really long time to go through because they tear your manuscript apart.
And shouldn't they, though?
They should. Well, I went from 150,000 word manuscript to 86,000.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's
made
inspiring.
it. I remember after I got her report back, I sat in my office and I was like, I'm screwed. I don't know what to do, because she pointed out a lot of flaws. The main one was, all the wrong people are saving your protagonist.
Oh.
And I was like, really? She goes, yeah, the wrong people are saving them.
Oh.
And so I had to rethink stuff, and it took me almost a year to rewrite and yank out pieces of the manuscript. And when you're doing that, you create ripples all over the
Yeah.
place. So then you're like fixing ripples, but the advice that she gave, and anyone writing a book, go through that process because it is so valuable. It hurts
I bet.
because
Yeah.
you're killing a lot of your people.
Let's see if I can do this. Oh,
Look at you.
well, there you go. We got it.
But the one thing you have to be comfortable, that I had to get real comfortable with, was what's it called? There's a name for it. The sunk cost fallacy. So just because you put time into something doesn't mean that's valuable.
Oh
So
my
where
gosh.
I had written 150,000 words,
So
some
many people need that.
some people would say, well, I'm going to keep those because it took me time to write. But the way I had to reframe it was, I went down this path to show myself this other path was the way. And that was the time spent on that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yes, and it's extremely valuable.
It is, but you have to be able to do that, and it's hard to swallow your pride and do that. But the end product was way better.
Let's go up here and see if these bluffs are up here. Let's do that. I think this is the best what we got. Sorry, I'm trying to navigate while I'm...
No worries.
Yeah.
You're multitasking.
So, and I don't want to be too forward, but all of these resources, are you paying to have this person pretty much go through your book, like you said?
Like the
Yeah.
edit process?
Yeah.
Yes. It's
Yeah,
not,
so
it's a lot of things.
Well, and that's what I'm...
Cheap is not one of them.
That's, yeah. Well, I mean, it's valuable, and if your services are strong, then they're not free.
Right. But I lucked out with the editor I worked with because she got 2/3 way through the 150,000 word novel version of it and said, hey, I'm stopping. I think you should do X, Y, Z.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I will come back and re-edit. So
That's
I lucked
wonderful.
out with her. She was great.
They got signs up here now. We might actually figure out where we're going.
Hey, all right.
Well, that's the other thing. It's time, it's money.
It's like anything. Like when you do it the first time yourself, you're gonna waste some resources, but you get paid in wisdom.
Yeah.
So if I do this again, it'll be about probably take me a lot less time and a lot less money.
So it's not a win, it's a if.
I'd like to do another one. It's just timing, and it was a lot of time spent away from my family. And they were gracious enough to give me that space.
And isn't that the most valuable piece is the time?
It is, and kind of like the protagonist who has her nose so close to the canvas that she doesn't want to look up and see stuff. And when she does, everything pours in. I kind of took on that same role.
Yeah.
And had to step away a few times.
And I needed to ask you about that, but I wanted to make sure I said it the best way that I could. I've done my best to condense my production and editing for when my family is already busy. Not necessarily in the middle of the night, but everybody's got stuff that they like to do. And then I found out that, hey, go do what makes you happy. If that involves me and you spending time together, that's great. But if it doesn't, I understand as well, because people need that time.
Sure.
So I found a way to be out of shape because I'm breathing like an old man.
We both are. We're
No,
talking about high-performing athletes.
Yeah, yeah. I found a way to basically do the production away from them because I went to, okay, how do I put this? Just my own, I can't be away from the family for more than a day.
Sure.
I do not like to.
Yeah.
I've even done local productions where I was gone for 12 hours and I still felt like I was in an emotional basement. I just didn't want to be there. The time versus money is just bonkers. But then for me, there's this creative thing where I make this stuff for me. I want to make it. It makes me happy. And then I've shared with a couple people. It made a couple people happy. So that's more the reason why I'm doing it. But I really have to find that balance between I need to spend time with you, or I just have to make sure that I get this out of my head because I got to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
It's
I had the ability to chunk things out. So at night I would say, hey, I'm going to work on this for an hour.
yeah.
And my goal was when I was drafting, was really small. Small things I could achieve. It was like, I'm only going to write 500 words. And that's not a whole lot. And it usually doesn't take you an hour to write 500 words.
Yeah.
So I'd usually surpass that, but giving yourself that small goal and that small amount of time where I'm only going to be in this room for an hour, still respected the time with the family.
That's
but,
important.
But that, you know, as it got more into the weeds of things,
Yeah.
there were times when I was like, I need to get this finished, so I need to have that time. And I think when you're creating and family doesn't, it's not that they don't understand that, it's that they have their own needs and wants.
Sure.
And I remember that while I was drafting, I watched The Shining, and there's a scene in that where Wendy interrupts Jack Torrance writing, and he just flips out on her.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a great scene.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great scene. And I was like, I understand that so
Yeah.
much more now.
Well, it's the flow.
Yeah.
It is 100% the flow, and that's what I used to do is block out the entire production day, because I would say, okay, so the production starts at 10 a.m. So I got to be there at 9. I got to have all my gear. The night before, I have to prep everything, make sure everything's together. And then when I get back from the gig, I'm just going to spend the rest of the day cutting, and I'll deliver it to the client that day. And it worked for a really long time until I realized the work's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
If you have strong skills, then you can always do the stuff. But what's not going to be there is that moment at the park with my kids, or that memory where we're building something, or we're learning something, or having fun. Those aren't. Them kids are going to grow up real quick, and I need to do my best to be present.
You blink your eyes and they're grown up.